Hey everyone, thanks for coming on. Just waiting for Alex from Beaute to hop on so we can start this live. Welcome, welcome. Hi! Hi Katie from Oakland Glow. Hi Danielle, hope you're good. Thanks for joining. So I'll do a little intro as we're waiting for Alex to hop on. This is Vanessa from Beaute. Today I'm talking to Alex from Beaute about fundamental methods to grow your beauty business that isn't necessarily associated to education at all. And the reason we wanted to have this topic is we both kind of agreed that education is so fundamentally pushed, and for good reason, but sometimes it tends to be the core focus of what a lot of people are investing time, energy, and money into. And there are a lot of great other methods to grow your business simultaneously to education. So we're gonna see if she can pop on. There we go. Hi, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us. I kind of did a little bit of intro of what we want to talk about today.
Amazing.
Specifically sharing a little bit about our shared philosophy of how education is really key, but it's definitely not the only method to boost our ability to scale our business and to feel good about how our business is going. So if you want to introduce yourself, tell our watchers a little bit about yourself, and we can hit these topics running.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am Alex from Beaute, and basically, I am here to talk to you, like Vanessa mentioned, about kind of these three main things in your business. And the reason why we kind of got together is I share a lot of educational posts, more so about the business side of running your beauty business, about being a beauty artist, about being a business owner. So we kind of got together because I posted something that kind of triggered this conversation that we're going to have today. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here and like dive into that with Vanessa and with all of you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about this topic. It can be a little controversial, meaning some people don't agree and some people don't know how they feel about certain topics, which we'd love to share a little bit of data that we received over the last week, just kind of asking people's comfort zones, their methods and approaches to actually trying to get in their business practice and growing it, because that's why we learn it. And the one thing I love about you, Alex, is you do different topics than what I'm used to seeing on social media, which is not just refreshing for my eyes and brain, but also so fundamental. And I can relate to understanding that because I do have a hair business, and back end, like tightening up your process, procedure, your introduction, as far as the face value of your business before anybody actually gets their selves in your business is really crucial. It also tends to be, I think, for artists, either difficult to apply, or maybe at first we're not really interested because we'd rather just focus on the art, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to break down your approach to what is the back end of the business and how are you tightening it up?
Okay. So there are many aspects to the back end, but what I kind of want to focus on today is something that obviously a lot of us find very important, is finding and attracting new clients and then booking those clients, right? Without having clients, I've posted a quote before, without clients, you have an expensive hobby, right? So we need to have clients in our business. So what we kind of discussed and what I wanted to talk about today was two major back end platforms, I guess you could call them, that will help you attract clients and then in turn book more clients. So the main one, well, actually they're equally as important, but the one that we're on today that we're using is Instagram. So I'm going to start with that one, and then we will move on to Google Business Profile. So both are really great ways of attracting clients, and they also can attract different clients because, as crazy as it may sound to us who spend all day on Instagram, there are people who don't. So there are people who want to find your business by not using social media or Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. And Google is an amazing way of doing that. So with your Instagram, what you want to do is make sure that you're utilizing all of the features that Instagram allows you to use, because it's a free platform, right? So as much as they can give us that we can use for free, like, let's take it, right? Especially as newer artists, like, we're starting out and we may not have that much cash flow. So whatever we can get that doesn't cost a lot or that costs nothing, like, let's go for it. So you want to utilize your profile. So Instagram gives you, I believe it's like 194 characters that you can fill out to tell potential clients who land on your page about you and your business. You want to utilize the links. So ideally you want to use that link for one purpose, and it's to drive bookings. So if you have an online booking set up, you want to drive people to click that link to book with you. And Instagram's also made a feature where you can just actually have a book now button on there and have both of them there to, like, extra drive traffic there. And then you want to also utilize your highlights. So stories are so much fun. They're something that we can use all of the time, but we can repurpose that content in a way to have it show up on our platform all of the time for potential clients who land on our page to see what we've shared in the past and to potentially use it as a way of almost not having to have a website. So if you wanted to have a highlight that said something to the effect of reviews and then policies and then booking procedures, things like that, so that clients can see exactly what you offer, what your policies are, what they need to do to book with you without having to, like, scroll through your feed or even leave the platform. Yeah, that's Instagram. Did you have anything you wanted to share about that?
Yeah, I think I love all of that feedback because it's a great way to utilize, like you said, the free amenities that Instagram gives you to basically highlight, like, it's like a mini website, right? Anything anybody would want to know about you would be there. I'm curious if, because I've done a little bit more research, I'm definitely not a techie, but I had to do a little bit more research as far as utilizing Instagram to the max. And you mentioned your kind of profile, the little intro of who you are, what you're about. I also know it's important for our watchers to know that Instagram is SEO based, search engine optimization based. And so you can write anything in that profile, but it would behoove you to write keywords associated to your business and who might be writing certain things to find certain qualities you're offering. For instance, permanent makeup, eyebrows, your city, your state, stuff like that. Am I correct?
Absolutely. 100%. And I love that so much because you have to almost get into your client's head and think about what they're searching as opposed to the words that you want to use to describe yourself. So 2 other points to that is, the main one is not to use jargon. So don't use words that we as artists or even business owners only know, because most of the time clients don't know that. So PMU isn't always a great word to use because clients don't know what that means. So to them, they're not searching that, or if they see it, they may not know that it's actually what they're searching for. The other point is that your top part of your Instagram, so not your handle. So for example, my handle is @BrowTab, and then underneath you have like a title that you can put. That title is like extra searchable. So yes, all of Instagram is SEO, like it's all searchable, but that title there is like extra searchable. It's what comes up when you like search for something. That's almost like before your handle. So utilize that part to the max, because that is where you're going to get the most driving of traffic. So if you do microblading, put microblading and your city in there. So for example, on my personal, like on my studio business page, I have microblading Calgary. so that people know that that's like 100% what I specialize in. So that part is really important as well.
Yeah, I really appreciate your feedback because it's something I struggled with for a long time because as an artist, I thought it was really important to use core words that resonated with me. Like I use brow artist, but that's not really what people are searching. I can be referred to as a brow artist, but they're not Google searching brow artist, right? They're searching salons, permanent makeup, microblading, nano, anything like that, which I think is a great way to kind of even segue to, if I'm correct, I think Google's not any different than that kind of approach. It's a keyword based search engine. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about how to utilize Google to boost your business?
Absolutely. So Google, I would say, is even more SEO keyword based than Instagram is, because Instagram does still let you use hashtags and whatnot. But on Google, it's all SEO, it's all keywords. So you need to really make sure, if you are creating like a website, let's say, that you are making sure that you are once again getting into your client's head and using the words that they would use, using the location that you're at, so that Google can rank your website for that. When a client types that into their search engine, you're showing up, right? It all has to link together, that Google has to know, oh, you offer this client's searching for this, let's put them together. You have to be like so upfront with that by using your SEO to get Google to recognize that, to put you with your clients.
Yes. I have a question that came in. It's for Instagram. It's Modern Zell Beauty said, I've seen a lot of artists get their Instagram verified due to fear of losing their Instagram accounts. Do you know anything about that?
So I have a little bit of insight on that. So the new verification, I believe, is a paid monthly subscription. And basically what it gives you is it's that blue check mark that used to be given only to like celebrities or people with like who are really known, but they've kind of, I don't know if they still give it to celebrities, they might, but it's kind of a new way to say that this is like 100% my account. I believe you have to give like your ID and verify your account in that sense. The one good upside of it is that if like hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody, but if you were to get your account hacked or you would lose access to your account, apparently they will give you your account back. There are backdoors ways into getting your account back easily, as opposed to sometimes you can get it back, but it's a lot of a struggle. You have to like contact them over and over and over again. With having this verified check mark, it gives you like an in with Instagram, and they basically just give you your account back with some sort of verification.
Do you feel at this time for yourself it's necessary to invest in that subscription?
I don't personally, and like knock on some wood, that I don't have that happen to me where I lose my account or something happens to it. At this point, I've decided that it's not right for me. I have lots of security features set up. I have the two-faced authentication or two-factor authentication, all of that set up for safety, which I highly recommend everybody do if you haven't done that already for all of your Instagram accounts. At the moment that I'm at right now, I don't feel that it's something that I need to do, but I've seen lots of people go ahead and do it. And if you feel that that makes you more comfortable with your account and you just feel that that's right for you, absolutely go for it, because there are some benefits to it.
Beautiful. I like that. And I do want to make sure that our viewers are getting the best meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. And I do want us to just revisit Google just a little bit, because when we talked a lot about really great, easy, and free ways to get better ranking on Google. And you specifically talked to me about the importance of building a profile. Yes. Again, I'm not tech savvy, everybody. So before I did any of this stuff would just make me cringe. I would avoid it because I didn't even like going through the process. And it is quite simple. And once it's out in the world, it basically just runs itself. It just exists for people to look up. And also, which I love about Google, is it collects reviews for me. Now, if you're anything like me, that in the beginning of your career might have really freaked you out, right? The pros and cons of getting reviews. The pros are people are talking about you. in a great way. The cons are people can also talk about you in a bad way. And that was what scared me the most of doing it, which is where I think some of my reluctancy came through. But once I kind of hurled over that fear, the Google reviews has really helped get me more traffic to all of my platforms. Can you kind of explain why that does what it does?
Okay, so going back to what you mentioned about the Google business profile. So it's basically what that is if you search any sort of business on Google, if you're doing it on your phone, it'll show up in the top of the screen. If you do it on a computer, it shows up on the right-hand side. And basically most businesses have this. And it's just a way, it's kind of like we said with your Instagram profile. It's a way of like creating a miniature website, but on Google. So it allows you to share your business name, your contact information, your location, if that's something you want to share, your hours, photos, your reviews. It's just like a place to have it all, but it's on Google. And it's really great for if clients are searching for your business specifically. They type in your business name, they're like, oh, a friend told me about her. And that's the first thing that's going to come up. And they're going to see all of your info there. They're going to see photos and they're going to see those awesome reviews. So it's really important to set it up. And like we mentioned, it's totally free. You're right. It is a little bit tedious to set up, but once you get it done, it's really just maybe making some updates, changing your hours, or if something changes in your business, updating that. But once it's set up, it runs itself. And to set it up is pretty easy. I do have some tutorials that can help you through that if that's something that you're struggling with. But it's so important to do because it's going to help you drive more traffic, like you mentioned, but also attract those clients who aren't necessarily coming across you on Instagram. So that's the backstory of that. What you mentioned about reviews is it's basically a public platform for you to collect reviews. So you can message your clients and they can message you back and be like, hey, love my brows. And then you can like screenshot that. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And you can share that to Instagram, like 100% do that. But if somebody is coming across your profile, that's not showing up for them. They're not seeing all of these amazing like other clients who saw you and were like, we love what you did. We love what you offered. We loved your studio. You want people to be able to see that. Cause like, how many times have you been ordering something on Amazon and you're like, oh, let's see what other people had to say. Like we do it for everything. So you want to be able to do it for your business as well.
Yeah. And do you think for like people who are just technicians, they are permanent makeup service people, they offer this beauty service, do you think it's important for them to have a website, whether it's Squarespace, I don't know if all these other platforms, but do you think that's important for them to have in addition to all these things?
I do, yes. I think it's important to have something else outside of these free platforms for a potential client to just be like, hey, like, are these people like 100% legit? Like, what else do you have? And just to hit a link, go to your page and just to see it all in one spot. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. There are free platforms out there. Sometimes your online booking will let you create like a one-page website in addition to your having your online booking site with them. But I think it's important to have something else that you've created yourself that's all yours, that's on brand with everything that you have, because a lot of times these other platforms don't allow you to, like Google doesn't allow you to brand it, right? Instagram, you're still following kind of the Instagram layout, right? So I think it's still important to have that. It can be super simple. It can be one page. It can be free, but just to have something that's yours, I believe is important for sure.
Great. That's beautiful. Well, I think that's really helpful. Of course, if you guys are tracking this, you guys are welcome to put in your questions in the box. I'm kind of tracking them while we're talking. But we really want to get to this last and final topic, which is something that me and Alex are super, super passionate about. And it's about actually starting taking clients before one is quote unquote ready. And we found this topic very important and also really interesting. I'm just very curious about this topic, how I tracked how I felt about it in my journey, how I still feel about it as I am a beginner of many things all the time. And I actually collected some data over the last week and a half, and I kind of want to share a little bit of what I got. And Alex, you did a similar poll, and I just find, again, there's no wrong answer here. It's interesting information. And when I did a poll, and of course it was I never shared the results with anybody. I just kind of collected them. I got a lot of different answers. And the question is how do we feel about the ethics of starting on a real person before we're ready? And I had a lot of people kind of say it was unethical. I had a lot of people who said, well, you got to start sometime. And then I had some people on the fence. And what's interesting is I still found myself really curious for more depth of where people were. So I kind of changed the question, and I basically had people define what is ready. And what I learned from that is that everybody's ready is going to be different. And that's what's really cool about the information. It's that it can be ethical if on your moral code of ethics of I am ready to do the best I can in this moment, if you're there, then it is absolutely an ethical thing. And so I think it's important, because I did get some feedback that it's like, no, you can't do that. You have to tick this many boxes until you're deemed a master or whatever. I didn't get very much of those. And so I'd love to hear your feedback, and I'd love to hear your point of view of if people want to, but they just do not know how to. How can we support them in these next steps?
Okay, so I love that you did the poll, and then I followed your lead and did the poll as well. And it's actually quite funny because some of your results, it seemed like my results were like the opposite of those. So I feel like I had a lot more, at least people who were replying to me who were more like, yeah, you gotta jump in, which I love. I was loving that answer. But it's funny, and it also just kind of depends who maybe saw the stories that day, right? Because we're not reaching our whole audience all the time. But basically also what you said about everybody has a different like moral compass, a moral value. So we're all coming from a different level of what we believe is ethical, right? And we have to always put our intentions at the top, and then our clients there as well. So if our intentions are true, are good, and we want to offer the best that we can offer, like you mentioned, then I feel that you can go ahead and start offering services. I personally did start offering microblading basically right after my course, and I was just making a few notes before we started today, and I was thinking about the fact that we all go through these courses, and I would like to think that most of us do have models in our courses, that we actually get live practice in our courses. And my thought was, if you were okay to do 2, 3, maybe even 4 models with a teacher watching you, and you felt comfortable, why are you not comfortable to go ahead and do it on your own with like the practice and the skills that you had as well? So that was just my thought before we came on here. I don't know how you feel about that as well, but that was just a little thought that I had before we got started.
Yeah, I love that you brought it up, and it might get a little spicy here because I have opinions about that. Here's what I'll say. I never want to come off righteous because I don't know what everyone's experience of education is, right? But I love data. Just because I like to understand, I like to get my finger on the pulse, especially I am an educator. I like to understand what people's experiences are and how they feel coming out of it. And this doesn't necessarily always reflect the education. I just want to be clear, but I've actually had a lot of research, and what I understand, there are educations that exist. That's what I'll say. I won't say it's higher or lower. There's education that exists that it doesn't sound like the students are actually as hands-on as you might think they're being based on how the social media is portrayed. And of course, this is just from me having conversation with people. I've had a conversation with someone where there are 20 students and they did one single stroke on one model. You know what I mean? So it's like, that can exist. So if I were in that experience, yeah, I probably wouldn't feel 100% confident in doing it on my own a week later. And that's why I think it's really important to track yourself and not necessarily collect the same opinions of maybe everybody else, because I'm like you, Alex. I am a hands-on learner. I've actually been writing this down because I got curious about my own journey. And you know, hands-on is how I integrate information the most, which means latex is only going to take me so far. And I also jumped in with microblading and nano. And is it my best work to date? No, but it is a step in the right direction. And I was really honest and authentic with those models in that moment. So we kind of shared a little bit about, you know, and if you're watching this, it's okay if this brings up stuff for you. It's going to bring up stuff for everybody, depending on where you are. Something I would talk to Alex about is what I wanted to share is maybe some helpful ideas of how to still tick the boxes of ethical and quality to the best of your ability, but still go for it. When you think of your own experience with that, Alex, what would you say you can pull from that, those memories?
So thinking back to it, I am like you. I need to be hands-on, and I have this thing that like once I decide I'm doing something, I'm doing it. So like, let's just go for it. But my thought was like, I felt confident leaving the course, and I had people like I was offering lashes before, so I had a small clientele that I could kind of pull from and potentially be like, I'm new to this service. Are you interested in trying it out? I think the key with that is being very honest with them. Like, it don't come off and be like, oh, I'm an expert, I've been doing this for 3 years. Like, don't lie. You don't necessarily need to be like, I'm 100% new, like you're my first client ever, but you should mention that you are new. The key is also to decide where you're at. If you are ready, like one way or another, we want to work on live skin, whether we want to call them models or we want to call them clients. It just is based on if you are having a paid service or you're doing it for free, right? So I think there is a point where you should be doing a few for free. That way, I find that ethical in the sense that you're offering something and they are very aware that you are practicing on them, because they're not paying you for that service. And then once you've done a few of those, then you can move on to potentially charging, you could charge full price if you feel ready, but a lot of times then we start charging a little bit less, and then we go more and more and more as we feel more comfortable, right? Just there's that growth involved. So I think that's important to either decide that you feel ready to charge $100 or decide that you want to take on some 5 practice models or 10 practice models and not charge them anything and use that as your practice. I also feel like from my experience, I do have memories of, I feel like it was good for me in a sense, and maybe not everybody feels this way, but I was very light-handed in the beginning. So I had a lot of clients coming back for their enhancement sessions and almost having nothing. And I felt as though that was a fail-safe, and can be a little bit of a fail-safe for clients or for artists who are light-handed, because we're not going deep enough to begin with to really cause any sort of damage or trauma, or like do something that they didn't want, create errors that are going to last. And even once I did get past that, where clients were coming back with some retention, it wasn't going to get the longevity of my strokes now, because of my technique wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't hitting that sweet spot. I wasn't depositing pigment absolutely the way we're supposed to. So I always felt like that was a little bit of a fail-safe, and that I could grow from that. So whether you're light-handed or heavy-handed, that could also be a little bit more of an issue on the other side of that. But that was something that I remember kind of helping me along and feel more confident in that sense.
Yeah, we have some comments, and I've been tracking you and what you're saying. And I love how you kind of broke down how you're very attuned to where you're at in the beginning. That's actually, data collecting is so good, because we're all so different. We all hold it differently. We all manage our nervous system differently, our practices and procedure. And so slowing down enough to know where you're at, whether you're heavy-handed or light-handed, it's good to know either or, because then you can tune it, right? Kind of like a guitar. We had someone mention about, continued training. It looks like they got dropped after graduation and they felt really alone and kind of lost. And I get that. I mean, permanent makeup, in my experience, it's not like hair, which I come from, a decade of hair. It's not as common to get your training and go into a hub, say like Beaute. You go into a private suite by yourself or your bedroom, and it's just you. And that is super lonely, and it is super scary. And we're talking, we've got 3 days max in training. Like, that is a lot to hold by yourself. And this person also mentioned that thank God for all that are passionate about extensive training and for giving space for new artists to fuck up and continue to learn. And I love those statements, because to pretend or to suggest you're not going to mess up after 3 days of education is a disservice to you. It will make you set a path that is impossible to achieve, and that's perfection after such a short period of time. And you will mess up. I mess up still. And the point is to be present and aware and dial it back, right? And this is what I love about what our topic is because these 3 topics that we're talking about, the communication with clients, the getting your feet wet, and then the back end, this isn't something you just set up and you never think about again. You should constantly be fine-tuning your practice and your art, your technique, to find a spot. And so something that I think is important to talk about, which something I'm really passionate about, is I believe in integration. Integration is basically a concept where you're not necessarily setting this objective to, I'm going to take a class. I'm going to take a class. Okay, here's another class. I'm learning. Yes, continuing education is key. I know there are a lot of people on here that are obsessed with it, and you go. It is something to be very passionate about. But if you're not stopping long enough to integrate that information, it's not really doing you any favors. And so think of integration as like an incubation period where you're taking in information and you're digesting it slowly, and you're practicing, and you're messing up, and then you're taking space, and then you're coming back, and then you're getting it, right? That is when I talk about integration, that's what I mean. And integration can be done privately, solo. It also can be done with a mentor. It can be done with smaller classes, which is something I offer, because I love these courses. I offer nano, I offer microblading, but these are really condensed times of a lot of information, and it's technical information. And so I design these digestible coaching sessions that are, 1, very affordable, and 2, help the integration of anywhere you're at. Mapping, that took me months to figure it out. And we aren't even talking about the technique yet. It was just mapping I couldn't do. Then the technique, then the artistry, even the business practices, right? How to consult. So things you talk about, Alex, I think these are just really amazing things. So make sure, if I could help anybody here watching, make sure you're setting time to digest these new things you're offering, whether they're back end or performance, artistry, or whatnot, because it will serve you in the long game. Do you have anything to add about that, Alex?
Yeah, actually, I've heard a term that kind of describes what you were mentioning without doing the integration, and it's called a success zombie. And basically what I've heard it explained as is that you are constantly learning information, you're reading books, you're watching videos, you're taking courses, but you're never like actually using any of it. So you take all this information in, you're like, oh, that's cool, and then your brain just moves along. You never actually take the time to be like, oh, I learned how to do a great consultation. Next client, I'm going to put these 3 factors in. Or, oh, I learned this new mapping technique. I'm going to go practice it on everybody in my house or everybody at my studio or as many people as I possibly can, and actually like putting it into work. You're just taking the class, watching the video, and you're like, okay, next. And you never actually put it into place. So integration is such a great word because we need to put that into work. And another thing I wanted to mention about that is it's something that was told to me when I actually started learning to do lashes. And I had started with classic lashes and moved to volume lashes, which is a general normal progression. And the fact was that I was not fast at volume lashes. And I was told to just start putting a few volume fans into my classic clients' lashes. So you were getting some practice without that pressure of being like, hey, here's a full volume set or even a full blended set. You were getting some like live practice, putting that into work without actually like having to offer that level where you feel so much pressure to get it done and to get it super full. And that's something I actually put into play once I did start offering nano brows, is I did like almost like a combination of microblading and nano, because I didn't feel confident enough to do a full nano brow. I could go in and get some nano strokes, and then where I needed more help on something that I was more comfortable with, I could put microblading strokes throughout. So you're still getting the same hair stroke eyebrow, but you're getting kind of a blended technique where you still get to practice. So that was something I just wanted to share on that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip. It's kind of like sprinkling in, getting the practice here and there. I think that's brilliant. Or even, you know, something that I was just talking to an artist at the Beaute Hub is she's studying her practice. And so I said, why don't you do a model call and just do that one client? That way you can slow it down. You're not having to perform and rush to get your next client. You could slow it down and you can say, hey, I'm studying something, and so I might be really quiet, or it might take 30 minutes longer because I just want to be present with what I'm doing. I think that's a great tip that you added. We have a question. Can you guys speak a bit about when the slow busy season usually hits? I don't know what that means. Sarah B, can you elaborate on what specific topic you want us to talk about? Like what to do when you slow down? She's probably typing. Do you know what you might mean? Slow, busy season?
Can you speak to a bit about, so I'm assuming that she means like potentially when is the slow, busy season, which is kind of different for everybody. For some people, it's during the summer months. I know it is for us up here in Canada because it gets hot and people want to be outside at all times. It may be the reverse for you because it probably gets extra, extra hot and you guys want to be inside. I can't speak to that, but potentially it's different for everybody. Okay, she's asking when the slower season is. Yeah, so it's different for everybody. It'll be, that's really hard to say. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
If I'm correct, I believe this person lives in Tucson with me. So I have some opinions, and actually I was just talking about it. I've been in the beauty industry for a long time, so I've learned to prepare. There's a pattern to it for sure for us, like I would assume most people. Whereas I've learned to not stress too much about it. Like Celavi, I believe we are kind of approaching a slow period of time. However, as far as my permanent makeup business, I don't prefer doing most of my work in the hotter months. Anyways, it's harder for my clients to maintain their healing expectations, and they're out of town. They want to be out in the sun. So it doesn't really bother me if I'm not getting as much business. Now, it can be a little scary from a financial point of view. So what I do is I make it worth my time. I'll do model calls, and if I'm not going to do it for the money, I'm doing it for the research. I'm doing it for the picture content. I'm also utilizing that time to be with my own family. So there's ways you can play with it in your favor. The key would be to branch off beyond financial thinking. Finance is important, yes, but if you can't predict the finance happening, get creative with how you can utilize the downtime in your business and personal favor, even if it's rest. Take it. Coach, you do more learning, practice a skill you haven't done before to get a running start for when fall hits and everyone's, knocking at our door. That's what I would say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Like, use the time wisely, and everybody's business ebbs and flows. Even the busiest artists out there, trust me, they will have a slower day or a slower month or a slower season. It's everybody feels that. That's the beauty business in general. So don't freak out. Don't think it's only you. Don't think just because other artists are still posting tons of photos, they could be posting old photos. They could be posting the same photo. We're not paying that much attention, right? So don't freak out. It's not only you, but yes, utilize your time as much as you can. Still go into your studio and sit there for the amount of times that you would work and practice that time, or spend that time creating some content, create some reels, do something, or learn. Take the time to learn, or like you said, take your vacation too. Go spend time with your family. Enjoy the time off, because you're right, it is going to get busy again at one point, and you're going to be like, damn, I should have done this, or I should have done that. So
yeah, it's a great time to integrate whatever you're integrating. I'm also a desert dweller, so it comes naturally to me every time it starts getting hot. I want to be out in the sun. I want to be out in nature more. And then what's really fascinating about that is I'll come back and do some latex work after a while, and it's like I'm getting it. I got something I didn't get before. That is the fantastic power of integration. Well, I think all of this has been really helpful. So Alex, I'm going to give you a minute to do your shameless pitch of things you offer to people who could utilize your skill set and expertise to enhance their business, if you want to take it away.
Okay, so Beaute has Beaute B School, which is business education specialized for the beauty industry. So it is information, tutorials, online courses to help you build this back end that we were kind of talking about, and to help you attract clients. So if you are in that slower season and you want to attract more clients, these are tutorials that are going to help you do that. A lot of it also is downloads and ebooks to help you learn what to do and actionable tasks of how to actually do it. So I'm not just talking to you in theory in these courses. I'm actually, yes, sharing all the information, sharing all the steps, but then telling you exactly how to put it into play in your business to make it work for you, because everything I share on B School is something that I have used in my own studio to create the business that I currently have. So I know that it works. And if you follow what I'm teaching and then follow those actionable steps, it will in turn work for you as well. That's all I got to say.
Awesome. And for Beaute, we also offer these digestible coaching sessions to help you integrate information you already have or to enhance things you don't already know. We also offer microblading courses and introducing a new nano course. We specialize in more intuitive practices, including technical practices, so it can draw out both the science and art fundamental sides of permanent makeup. So please don't hesitate to reach out to either of us. I also love just building my community. If you just need a friendly PMU face for inspiration and to shoot the shit any once in a while, you're always welcome to slide into my DMs anytime. And also, say la vie, I'll say this specifically to you because I know you are local. If anybody else watching this is local to Tucson, Beaute is hosting an artist night on Monday, 6 to 8. It's free. You can bring in all your tools that you want to practice in permanent makeup or lashes. If you're interested in learning about that, you're welcome. We just gather at a table and we practice and share and build local community. Awesome. Well, Alex, thank you so much. I enjoy you so much. I really enjoy how you're different and you're really progressive and you're really building this strong mindset of just being an individual and really owning your business and the back end and the front end and all of it. So thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I'm sure we're going to do some more lives. Yeah. Thank you everybody who joined. Please share this with anybody. We are going to try and save it. We're just trying to build community and awareness that you can be whatever type of artist you want to be in the permanent makeup industry. And any referrals to either of us is helpful for our passion and purpose as well. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.